Hey man, we had to get we had to get the update on what's going on with Diddy. And shout out to Ian Curl. We're gonna start off with his video. And he's making the connection between Ashton Kutcher and Diddy. Yeah, and apparently they have a long history, and he put, I'd be willing to bet he's got more than a few skeletons in his closet. He's one of the most interesting ones he's found so far. Ian Carroll, let's go and check him out.
You know the story from 2001 when a young Ashton Kutcher got stood up on a date, and then the next morning that girl had been murdered? And you remember how Kanye said that they couldn't control him because he ain't never killed no one? And listen, I'm not accusing Ashton Kutcher of murder or anything else. I'm just saying there might be a lot of skeletons in his closet. And this story is pretty weird. And it was a crazy unsolved murder case from the start. But then just last year, a new spicy detail dropped that is just tinfoil maximum. So on the morning of February 22nd, 2001, Ashley Ellerin's roommate got home from a night out and found her murdered, stabbed to death 47 times on the floor of the home that they shared. She called police, obviously, and they started investigating. And then they got a call from Ashton Kutcher freaking out because he said, my fingerprints are going to be on that door handle and I need to explain what happened. Remember, this is way back when he was just a few seasons into that 70s show and he had just starred in Dude, Where's My Car? And what Ashton told police at the time is that he had met her a week before at a party at her house. They'd been acquaintances and they decided to go on a date. They had a date scheduled for 8 p.m. on the 21st. They were going to go out to a Grammys after party, but then he went to his buddy, Christy Swanson's house to watch the Grammys. And he wound up watching the Grammys through 8 o'clock. And he called her and was like, hey, I'm going to be late at 8:24. She said no problem. She had actually just gotten out of the shower and she was going to blow dry her hair. She would speak to him soon. So then an hour and a half later at 10 p.m., he called her to let her know he was on his way, but she didn't pick up. So he redialed her a couple times. She didn't answer and he eventually showed up at 10:45, more than 2.5 hours after their date was supposed to start. He arrived at her house and knocked, but the door was locked. He couldn't get in. He tried the handle. And so he looked in the window and he says he saw what appeared to be a red wine stain on the carpet. I didn't really think anything of it, he said. And then he left, thinking he had been stood up. They never investigated him. He was not a suspect. They didn't take any DNA from him. The case went unsolved for 7 years. But it gets even weirder when you find out that the apartment manager of Ashley Ellerin's apartment, who is an aspiring actor, said he was having a sexual relationship with her, consensual. And he was in the house when Kutcher called. He said he was just hanging out with her from about 7 to 8 p.m. on the night when this chick is about to go to a Grammys after party with Ashton Kutcher. She's just hanging out with her apartment manager. And then at some point she went and took a shower while he was still there. And then remember, she said she'd just gotten out of the shower and was going to blow dry her hair when Ashton Kutcher called her at 8:25 p.m. And then shortly after her shower, things turned physical. He doesn't, just one thing led to another and it was mutual. And then they, did the thing for about 15 minutes. And then he left her apartment shortly after because he was expecting his own girlfriend to get home. He kind of got the phone call timing wrong. He said it was at 8:15 that the
Hey, man. If you ain't gonna be treating her right, bro, just leave, all right? And second of all, to the point of this, Hollywood got some weird skeletons in their closet, man. This is just, what happened to this woman? I have to know.
Call him, and then they were like, oh, it was 8:24. He's like, yeah, okay, I must have left later. He also had a fresh cut on his arm that detectives noted in a report. Never gets explained in the various reporting I could find. When the defense attorney questioned the apartment manager, he said, did you ever tell police that Miss Ellerin was trying to conquer you? Weird language. Just that she was very attracted to me and that she wanted me to be a part of her life. Also weird language. And then when the defense attorney asked if the apartment manager had ever spoken to his then girlfriend, now wife, about this infidelity, he says, we never discussed it. So you continue to lie to her all these years? No, Durbin replied quickly. But you never discussed it?
Right.
You didn't lie. But in all the looking I could do through all the different media reports that happened on this relatively high profile case, I didn't find anywhere that they mentioned taking DNA samples from the semen. And the case went unsolved for 7 years, despite Ashton Kutcher being there with a pretty shaky alibi as to why he wasn't there earlier when he said he would be there and only showed up later because he was hanging out at his Hollywood friend's house. And despite this other dude that had a key to the apartment having admitted to consensual sex with her right as she was supposed to be going on a date with this other actor. No DNA tests, no investigation apparently. And then 7 years later, in a different town, in a different state, this guy named Michael Gargul gets arrested for this other murder attempt, where in 2008, this woman was sleeping in her home and she was stabbed in her bed. She testified that she managed to fight off her attacker by grabbing the knife blade with both hands and was able to kick him off of her. And at some point in the struggle, he cut his wrist, leaving a trail of blood on her bed and in the alley on her way out. And as he ran out, she recalled the man saying, "I'm sorry," as he ran away. Here is some MK Ultra tinfoil for you. The defense attorney for him claimed that Michael Gargul was in an amnestic state when he attacked Murphy and couldn't remember hurting her, and he had regained his senses while still in her apartment, hence the apology as he ran out. They apparently found a blue surgical booty with a few drops of Bruno's blood on it outside of her front door, and then they say that they...
You know, people love to play crazy when it's convenient. They love it. You know, unfortunately, who's running for the seat right now?
Found a bunch of other identical blue surgical booties in the suspect's attic. And so they caught him for this other murder in 2008. And then he started getting tied to all these other stabbings in other places nearby to where he had lived in the past, despite not actually having any forensic evidence tying him to the scenes other than circumstantial and witness testimony that came forward later. Michael Gargul actually used this as his defense. He basically gave up and said, I know the evidence is much stronger with Michelle Murphy. That's the elephant in the courtroom. You have to judge each case separately. So he basically said, yeah, we know he kind of did the last murder. What I'm saying in court today is that he's getting tied to all these other murders with no evidence. No physical evidence, no DNA, no fingerprints, no hair samples.
Because they took none.
Found tying Gargul to the scene in the Ellerin case. And the case didn't even wrap up until 2019, when Ashton finally took the witness stand about this murder that happened all the way back in 2001. And then just last year, a really weird detail got dropped when Ashton and Mila's friend, Danny Masterson, got convicted of multiple rapes and sentenced to...
We know that he's a pedo, and we know that your boy, Ashton Kutcher and his wife, they actually was like in defense for him and everything.
30 years to life in prison. Remember that 70s show? And they wrote these amazing letters about how great of a guy Danny was, trying to get his sentence reduced, along with like 30 other Hollywood people. The letters got leaked. There was huge backlash. And one of Danny's ex-girlfriends / rape victim posted to her Instagram story something super spicy. It has mostly been scrubbed from the web, but you can find all sorts of people that refer to it and they all agree on what it said. So this is a direct quote. "Dear Ashton, I know the secrets your role model, Danny Masterson, keeps for you. Ones that would end you. Did you forget I was there? You were on speakerphone that night you called Danny on February 21st, 2001. I heard everything. I heard the plan. In my opinion, you're just as sick as your mentor." She alleges that Kutcher called his team of publicists and Danny Masterson on the night of that murder before calling police the next day. Why did Ashton Kutcher call his best friend Danny Masterson and his publicists the night that his date got murdered, or rather, the night that he got stood up by his date, and then later found out that she had been murdered? There's also conflicting evidence from Ellerin was attacked from behind and her throat was cut from left to right, indicating that her killer was left-handed and got her all at once from behind, versus that there were numerous defensive wounds on her hands and her right forearm. Over the years, some people have speculated that Ashton did it. Other people have speculated that Ashton didn't do it, but he actually entered the home when he arrived there and saw the body and freaked out and left and didn't report it. Personally, I have my own theories, but I'm not going to go claiming them on the internet without any clear evidence. The only claim that I'm going to make is that Megan Fox deleted all of her Instagram posts. Usher tried to delete all of his Twitter posts, but he kind of failed at it. And all you other Hollywood criminals and psychos, you can try, but it's too late. It's all coming down around you. 2024 is the year that all lies will be exposed.
Is in Lizzie McGuire. She also has an album out. She's going to be in a movie called Cheaper by the Dozen. And she's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn 18, along with the Olsen twins. Any 15-year-old. Along with the Olsen twins. Any 15-year-old.
Dang, Diddy, you done got Ashton Kutcher caught, which is great. I'm happy, amen for that. We need to get anybody who's sick in Hollywood and these people out here doing these heinous acts. Yeah, man, we need them gone. Now, as far as Ashton, if I listening to that story, I'll say this. I can't draw any, I don't want to give y'all everything that I think, without any proof, but I'll say this. I definitely 100% agree with that sentiment. I think that he knows way more than he's telling them, and he definitely seen or was aware of or had an understanding that that was somehow taking place when you talk about the timeline in which he decided to contact the police, the timeline in which he decided to pull up after he was allegedly supposed to pull up, hours before. Yeah, man. And then you got the manager of the building. I can't remember, a manager, something like that. Somebody who worked in the building who claimed to have, slept with that woman that night. So yeah, Diddy also has a long history with Ashton Kutcher. This is Ashton Kutcher, Danny Masterson, and Diddy. You got Jamie Foxx up in there, RP Heavy D. Yeah, yep, you see him all there. It says Ashton is a cunt scumbag. He's also friends with Joe Francis. I don't know what it is. So yeah, we seeing a sentiment. Let's not forget about Leonardo DiCaprio and Ashton Kutcher have been to Diddy's parties. Okay, I can't show y'all. I can't play the audio, so hold on. Let's get to it. Let's see. What do we got? Who is that? Is that Ashton Kutcher? I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I'm trying to skip through it real quick. So I'm moving slow and fast anytime, y'all. Trying to locate this guy. What was this? Oh, that was Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay, that's Leonardo DiCaprio. He's the one with the hat, in front of us right here. That's him. Okay, cool. That's Leonardo. The video is extremely small. This is Leonardo DiCaprio there. Why did they show me that? I was trying. They said, oh, they were showing a picture. Okay.
Hot dog. And I was like, listen, I'm under his skin. I've already won.
Diddy party stories, they're our favorite genre of anecdote. If you have one, yeah.
Wow. Okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So, I can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling through them. There was one moment. So it's not really a party story, but our relationship was really bizarre. So it started over punked because he was like, "Yo,
don't punk
you
me.
Can't punk me," and I was like, "I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's on the table." He's like, "Not me. I'm off the table." And so that started our conversation. We became fast friends, and we used to just hang out, watch football together, like whatever. And he came over, and I was like, "I'm going for a run." He's like, "Oh, I'll go for a run with you." And so he comes over to go for a run. About halfway through the run, he's like, "Yo, I'm running out of gas right now." But we had like paparazzi all around us at the time. He's like, "You gotta slow down but make it look like you're not slowing down."
Because he had to.
I don't want to look like I'm not gonna be able to finish this thing. And he was losing it, right? Like he was like me right now with the wings and the heat starting to kick up. And he's like, and so we finish out the run, and then he was so upset over the fact that he got skunked on this run. That year he decided to run the New York Marathon. And so he just started immediately training for the New York Marathon.
I like that, bounce back.
Well, he just can't lose. Even when he's that close to humility, that like it becomes a driver. And so then he went out and ran the New York Marathon.
It's a lot of weird stuff going on in Hollywood, and I'm so thankful that all of it is getting exposed. I'm here just to bring the information, regardless if I give y'all my opinion on the scenario or not. Obviously, I'm not for what's happening here, but as it pertains to Diddy, his bodyguard claims that his arrest goes beyond just him, implicating all the politicians in New York City, including Mayor Adams, whose house was raided along with other officials, have some involvement. So Ashton Kutcher isn't someone who's too far off from this. He also suggests that the wave of resignations within the city is linked to the Diddy investigation.
It's bigger than Diddy, bro. Because you know who else they was doing investigation on during that whole time period? It was the mayor and the politicians in New York City. They turn around, give him the key to the city. All the mayor people that he brought on here in New York City are all resigning. They all resigning. People ain't gonna tie this together, but if you look at it, you have to say, because of Mayor Adams and his relationship with Diddy, it brought on the Southern District of New York to start investigating Diddy on civil lawsuits that was put against him. Because the feds is going after all these politicians in New York City.
Of course, Diddy tried to place bail. I think it was like $50 million. He was denied the first time. They tried again. He was denied again. But yeah, politicians, there's so many people that's involved in this that are behind the scenes that we really won't know until everything starts to come out.
Music mogul Sean Combs has been denied bail for a second time after being arrested by Homeland Security agents this week. He's been charged with sex trafficking, kidnapping, bribery, and a lot more. On this show, we discussed his deviant sex parties in which he coerced women into engaging in days-long public sex displays with male prostitutes. He's accused of taking videos of those encounters and using them to blackmail the participants. But according to our music industry insider, Sean Combs' crimes could be even worse than what's being described, and other famous faces could also be implicated. Joining me now is founder of Yako Booyens Ministries and my good friend, Yako Booyens. Yako, thank you so much for coming on the show this evening. I know we're hearing a whole lot about what these allegations are, what the charges are, and we're hearing other big names that are supposed to be all wrapped up in it. Tell us, spill the beans. Nothing's off limits, brother. What's going on? Who else is going to be implicated? Who's already implicated in the charges? Who else do you think is going to come up out of this? And do you think Sean Combs is actually going to face jail time? And do you think he's going to survive his time in prison?
Yeah, man. Great work, David. Thank you for all you do. Look, I said 10 months ago, Sean's going to be arrested. People said, no, he's going to walk. And I said, not this time. Something you have to pay attention to here is what did not happen in the Epstein case or the Maxwell case. In the indictment, the definition of sex trafficking is mentioned. That did not happen with Epstein and with Maxwell. The second I saw that in the indictment, they're mentioning force, fraud, coercion, which is the definition of human trafficking, I knew this time this guy's going to fry. He's going to. This is a sex trafficking case. The reason they did that is so no corrupt district attorney could plead this down to a misdemeanor, a drug charge, kidnapping charge, rape charge. This is a sex trafficking case. Maxwell wasn't tried in a sex trafficking case. This is very, very different, David. They're stacking up. They went slow. Remember, they raided him, and then everybody said they're going to do nothing. And I said, no, they're walking it slow because they've got the evidence. I believe this canary bird is going to sing. Here's what I believe is going to happen. The charges are mounting up on. He's going to get 30, 50, 55, 60 years is what he's looking at. I believe they're going to throw the book at him. I also believe they're going to talk to him about ceasing assets. They're going to talk to him about your children are going to left destitute on the street. We're going to take you for everything you've got because it is New York City. In New York City, tax crimes are looked at differently. They're looking at tax evasion. They're going to throw the book at this guy, I believe, to make him a deal. And I believe the deal they're going to make him is, now you need to spill the beans. You need to talk and we'll give you 15 with probation or whatever, right? Some sort of a condition. I really believe this is going to happen. Other names are going to come out. Sean will talk. That's why Jay-Z is running. That's why Jay-Z is nervous. Jaguar is talking about it. So many other artists at the moment. The industry is squirming because they know Sean is loose-lipped. He will talk. I can share this with you. An executive from his organization ends up in my office, unannounced, in my office saying, will you help me? I'm not part of it. I run some of his brands. This guy's got tequila brands. He's got a ton of stuff. One of his executives ends up in my office. I said, how did you get in my office? He said, I'm here. You've got to help me. I said, no, we're going to come after you. You know, you've been there. You've worked with him for 17 years. You know, they're wow. Jumping. David, so brazen that he shows up at my office to say, will you help me? I want to talk. I want to spill the beans. So this is going to crumble. Now, you're going to see Hollywood film industry implicated, Wall Street implicated, professional sports implicated. Remember, allegedly, I'll say allegedly, because they make us, right? Minors did attend these parties. Minors. That charge has not been brought yet. If that charge comes, now you're looking at life, because the sex trafficking charges for minors are very different. You do not have to prove force, fraud, or coercion with a minor. A minor's a victim. The defense is going to say it's not force, fraud, coercion. The women did it at their own admission, at their own will. He told them, I'll give you a record deal. You're going to be my girlfriend. He defrauded them. He coerced them with record deals. He put them in the studio. He made them believe they were going to be stars. He is toast. He's fried because it's actually a sex trafficking case. And I believe, especially being denied bail, remember, he pays off his mortgage, $18 million a week before he turns himself in. He was so confident. His lawyers are so cavalier that the judge would take the bail. Judge, here's an $18 million home, $50 million cash. You could put an ankle bracelet on me. I'm not going nowhere. And they go, no bail, because this guy is over his eyeballs in water. When he realizes this, and his lawyers tell him, Sean, there's no way out, buddy. Take a deal. He'll ask for a deal. And that deal has to be names. And then those names can't just be a list of names. They have to be indicted, and they've got to go in front of a court, and they've got to be cross-examined. They've got to sit in front of a jury. And can we have that a public trial that they made Kyle Rittenhouse a public trial? Can we have a public trial? Yeah, right. Can we bring him in that the public see, like Amber Heard and Johnny Depp? Turn the cameras on.
Yes.
Let's see.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think every American needs to see. There's such this allure about Hollywood and all the athletes and celebrities and their party life, and it's so dark. It's so dark. And now to find out that there's been this systematic system of sex slavery, sex workers being drugged. I hear this as well. Maybe you can confirm, Jaco. Allegedly, the Kardashians are mixed up in this, that there's some documents, there's some proof, evidence that people were being drugged, and then things were being recorded, videotaped, and then that was used against executives or individuals to get further in their deals. What can you shed on that topic?
Yeah, the names and what you're going to find here, it's the same circle. It's the Epstein circle. It's the Harvey Weinstein circle. Remember, they run in packs. Football players hang with football players. Baseball players with baseball players. The industry run in packs. 15 years of freak out parties. Who do you think went through there? Everybody. They went through there. Now, does it mean they're all complicit in trafficking? No, but they saw stuff and they talk about it and they know what happens at midnight. They know what happens at midnight. Yeah. At midnight, certain things happen. Girls get naked. All of a sudden, everybody's naked. All of a sudden, they find out, oh, have I been kissing on a man or a tranny? Is this a dude or a girl?
All being recorded.
At midnight. And now one thing that cannot happen, and we cannot skim over, is the record label executives. Remember, Sean was led into the industry by a particular record label executive. We're not going to mention his name right now, but biggest of the biggest. Godfather of American music. Made him, right? Funded the freak out parties as a mechanism to gather talent, bring them in. Bring them into our house. Let them not go to another label, a competitive label. Bring them in here, compromise them, wine and dine them, promise them, put them in the studio the morning after. Here's what happens. A girl comes in that has hopes and dreams, that has slept in her car. All of a sudden, she's with Puff Daddy. Puff Daddy tells her, "You're my girl. You're my boo." The next, she's at a party. It's a freak party, and he's having sex and they're having sex. Next day, she's in the studio. He's delivering on the promise. She's in the studio with record label executives. She's like, "This is my world." You traffic a person through knowing their greatest desire and their greatest need, those two things. So you meet the need, and then you play off their desire, their ambition to be a star, and you give it to them. Remember, David, I'm not speaking 30 years in human trafficking, but where did we start with human trafficking? My sister was trafficked by a record label executive. Wow. This is where this started for my family. We know this inside out. They deliver on actual promises. Then it becomes family. It's us. You can't break rank with us. If you go against us, they're all going against you. We got dirt on everybody. We filmed everybody. Politicians, David, wait until the names of the politicians come through, and the athletes. Wait until the names of the athletes come through. 15 years.
What about the video? What about the videotapes? Are those going to be admissible somewhere? Is that all going to be collected? All of that stuff going to be filed so that the American people can hear it, can see it, can at least know it? We don't want to see it, but can see exactly who's on there? How confident are you that the American people this time, unlike Epstein, are actually going to be able to see the names of the people that are complicit in all this absolutely evil deeds?
Something interesting is happening. Damian Williams, the U.S. attorney, right? That's the prosecuting attorney here that filed this, right? I don't know. This guy's cut from different cloth. He's not a typical New Yorker. He's playing a different kind of a ball here. He will have to subpoena the FBI because they've got him. They raided the house, remember? The houses. Like they raided Epstein Island, like they raided everything, like they raided Rudy Giuliani's house and got Hunter Biden's hard drives. They sit with it. They've got it. They have it. They're probably going to have to be subpoenaed to present it because it's not with the court at the moment. It's not with the prosecuting attorney. It's with the FBI. Now, is the FBI going to play ball? I don't know. I hope so, David. I hope they get it court ordered by a judge to say you will release that to the court. Does the American public see it? I do not think so. I really don't. But I do think the court sees it. I think the judge sees it.
And if the court can see it,
gets to see it. Yes.
If the court and the judge and the jury can see it, then hopefully indictments can follow. Final 20 seconds. It's pedophilia behavior, it seems like. Pedophiles know how to operate, communicate, and then take advantage of individuals, younger individuals, and then basically traffic in that. It seems like it's this, but on steroids with all the lavish life behind it. Final 20 seconds, Jaco.
Final 20 seconds. They're easier to trap because they're desperate for a career. They sleep in their cars. Think of the average Hollywood career. 1% makes it. They're not hard to trap. You give them what they've always wanted. You put them in the studio. You give them fame and acclaim. You give them access at these freak parties. You understand? It's like 50, 60 of the top A-list names in one night. For a girl who comes from the Bronx, who's had nothing, who's nowhere. It is Tinseltown. She's not going to talk, but now they will. Remember, survivors don't talk until they believe there's legal action. They're going to come out of the woodwork. With the second bail being denied, you watch. You watch the amount of plaintiffs that's going to come out.
Well, I hope and pray that every single one of them comes out. Jaco Booyens, appreciate your insights. Brother, love your passion. Love you. Thank you for joining tonight.
Thank you, David. God bless you.
Now, I know that video was a bit lengthy, but I definitely want to give y'all some more insight into what was going on with, as far as the trial goes. So my question is, will they actually release anything, though? They're doing this to coerce all the celebrities to come out and publicly support Kamala Harris. I don't think this too far off at all.